All systems go. Clear for liftoff. What's up, everyone? Tyler Tamboline here, a.k.a. ToeTagginTambo, back for another edition of the Monday Night Football Showdown show here on the SHIPIT Nation YouTube station. Got hoop, got title. We're going to round out week 5. We got the Kansas City Chiefs at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Hoop, how was your week 5 so far? And then what do you think about tonight's game? We got Chiefs at the Jags.
Relatively good. I was pretty live on FanDuel in the big 3K. Had a Jets Cowboys team that happened to have Rico and Jonathan Taylor on it, so it went pretty well over there. It's kind of weird, like when you build teams and like your last piece in, like you don't love and you know it's going to be the downfall of your team. Like for some, like I got everything I wanted. Ferguson, we had talked about it on the show, and I don't know. You look at the ownership stuff, but you can tell me if we were right or wrong on it. But I thought Warren being right there would keep Ferguson in check, so I played Ferguson. That obviously worked out well. But the last piece was Hampton. Didn't feel great about it. Didn't do shit and got hurt. So that kind of held me back from getting all the way up there. But it was a good day there. Close on DK. I mean, we're on the right pieces. The Dak stuff. I mean, anything in that game kind of worked out well. Mason Taylor, who we talked about, what was his final stat line, by the way? Because I said 100 yards, and it seems like he was getting a ton of.
He got like 17 points. So I think he got like 60 something. Or
yeah, we take that. We'll take that for sure. We like
9
that
for
play.
67.
Yeah, beautiful play there for sure. Didn't fully break it, but that was the random tight end play of the day. Got the job done. So overall, it was solid. And then big time depression for some when the Cardinals decided to piss that game away and ruin a lot of momentum in the survivor streets.
Yeah, that was hurtful for a lot of people. What a way for a game to turn around. We had the Adonai Mitchell, DeMercado type of setup where he just drops it on the way in, or the touchback that way. And then the whole momentum flips. The craziest play back and forth for Tennessee to get a touchdown out of that the other way, and then just come back and get the job done, and the whole momentum flip. But it's crazy. Title, that's the survivor streets we've been living in. That was definitely hurtful to a lot of those on Arizona. How did your day go otherwise, and what did you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, just a crazy game. Not only that, I mean, the Cardinals just took their foot off the gas 1.5 quarters in. I mean, you just move the ball at will the first couple possessions, and these guys just get lax. And the next thing you know, a couple insane plays. I mean, run so bad there. I got lucky. I used the Cardinals. I thought Cardinals were clearly the best survivor play. I used them week 1, though. So still live over here. Just absolute chaos, though. Rams, Cardinals, Bills, they weren't very high owned in that, but man, the NFL is a lot of fun. These offenses are starting to pick it up and really just show some of these defenses aren't even close to on the same level as these offenses. And with the kickoff stuff and all that, when they get the ball at the 35, I mean, points are – and then I say that. Then we watched the Sunday night game yesterday with the best offense probably and the Bills, and they struggle. So it was cool to see Diggs. I'm jumping all over the place, but also cool to see Diggs. He said it was personal. I mean, he definitely showed it was personal.
Yeah, I love that. The best was the James Cook stuff last night. Like Vegas made the call, 49.5 yards. There was people clipping the final video, the prop bettors out there, because it looked like he got more than a yard, but they needed to hold him for the 49.5, so it couldn't hit their bets. And he's had a touchdown every game, so how did he not get a touchdown? But he still played 80% of the snaps. I know people were freaking out. It was the least amount we'd seen Ray Davis and Ty Johnson. They got 4 total carries the whole game. They just didn't use them when we would want them to use them. But that's DFS. That's showdown for you. It's gonna be another good game tonight. Interesting thing on tonight, just the Worthy stuff up front. Said he was on the injury report, came off of it, was good to go. On the weekend, came off the plane, had a little bit of swelling, so they put him back on the injury report yesterday. But as of this morning, said he's going to be good to go and he's going to play. So he's still Q-tag. Well, we won't get the final news till we get it. Anything could happen in warm-ups, but for the sake of the show and for going through it with everybody, definitely have to assume he plays based on the news that came out this morning. So that's the situation with Worthy. We know Trevor Lawrence and Brian Thomas Jr. suck, and there's no way they could ever come back and have a good game tonight. So we got that part figured out. But Hoop, what's your grand scheme overview here? It's a Chiefs slate, and obviously never Mahomes for me goes out the window when we get to a single game. But thoughts on this one? Chiefs favored by 3.5 right now on the road, it looks like.
Kind of a tough one, I would say, for Showdown in terms of identifying the captains that you want to play. Just a lot of ho-hum, middle of the road, low floor sort of options. And a lot of times you can go to the pass catchers and look there. The Jaguars, it's been all over the place. The Chiefs, obviously worthy. Now there's some injury stuff. I think he's fine. I think he's good to go. I think all indications are that as well. So, maybe it's him that you look to. I don't know. I think anything could really happen tonight. So I'm going to kind of play it that way when building my teams. Like, I like going as condensed as possible at the captain spot. Like, I like running 3, 4, or 5 if I can tonight. I just don't know if I can get there. I do think that'll push a lot of ownership to Patrick Mahomes up top because he's probably the most stable piece on the board. Been running a little bit, which we kind of noted early on in the season. I mean, 6 attempts, 7, 5, 4. We weren't seeing any of that last year from him. It just increases the floor and ceiling a little bit. He's been over 23 fantasy points in 3 out of 4 games. So I do think a lot of people just go to Mahomes. They'll start looking at these other options and say, man, I don't want to play Trevor Lawrence, ETN, Brian Thomas Jr. sucks, Kelsey's dust. Who knows what you're getting with Hollywood Brown. And then they'll say, all right, I'll just play Mahomes. So I do think Mahomes gets quite a bit up top for that reason. And, maybe it is him. Like, who knows? But, again, I like to try to keep it condensed. I just don't see how I can do that today. I'm going to probably play a lot of guys up top on the slate.
I'll definitely be way underweight Mahomes up top. I'll tell you guys that right now, especially because it looks like it's going to get steamed even further. And he does spread
Shocker.
it out. And
we're shocked.
What's
we're
that?
shocked. I said we're shocked.
Yeah, of course, right?
Got to stay on brand. You got to stay on brand for sure.
Well, it's kind of like that's what I was trying to get people on, because on main slates, the reason I don't like him on main slates is the reason he is typically better in the captain spot on Showdown, because he does spread it around. Now he's running it more, all that. It just, there is so many other options here. Like when we get to these position by position options, you're going to hear multiple running backs come up and price differentials. You're going to hear multiple receivers. The fact that Worthy's good to go. I know some people immediately just say, well, hey, if he was added to a late injury report, you can't play him. I'm going to go to this guy instead or this guy instead. It just gets so spread out. But Title, the biggest thing to remember tonight is the birthday boy on the other side, Trevor Lawrence up top. And yesterday was Travis Kelce's birthday. So we got a couple narrative street spots here. What's your grand scheme overview, my friend, narratives aside?
Yeah, it's usually when you say like a 5.5 point favorites or decent favorites, or 3.5 now with the Chiefs, excuse me. But a favorites with the Chiefs, with Mahomes clearly being like 90% owned like Josh Allen was yesterday, you would think it'd be heavily favored 4-2 Chiefs builds at least. And that's just not the case. It's 3-3. And then even 4-2 Jacksonville will be pretty highly owned. And a lot of that is the running back room is really hard to click on for the Chiefs. They've all been bad. And with Worthy back, he's the clear other guy, but the ones after, like Thornton, he's not going to be in as much. Juju, I think he's a solid play. Kelsey's just looked really bad, and the Jags guys, when you get to that price range, I think Kareem Hunt will be the one value guy people will click on. Pacheco looks too highly owned, but it's a lot easier when you go down below the value guys on Jacksonville, the Deemy Browns, the Tutons, the Parker Washingtons. I think they're a lot easier clicks, project better than even like Noah Gray or Brashard Smith or stuff like that. So I do think any 5-1 build on either side will be different, and you could see a path possibly. 4-2s though, I'm going to be leaning into that. I think 3-3 is the worst build on this slate because I think that's what most people will go to. So that was the first thing that stood out to me. But I agree with Hoop and Mahomes. I think he gets steam at captain, and he could be like 92% total on this slate because he feels underpriced relative to everyone else in his projection.
And one more interesting note that you said that, because the build type is important. I think not a lot of people look at that. And like, that's another way to get leverage on a slate is like, if it's going to be heavy 4-2s with a certain build type or on a certain side, then you can get leverage or go underweight on those build types. But the thing about the Mahomes captain is I think Hoop was right. Jordan says here, the Sims are pumping lots of that. When the Sims are pumping, I've talked about it recently of like a dry run. And then if you have ultimate or something with contest sims, you can see what that is pushing, because that's where people think, oh, I better go with what this says, but it's taking a combination of all the inputs and then pushing that, and then more people think it's correct. But I will say it's tougher I think people struggle with figuring out the Chiefs side of things, but they just feel so good about Lawrence, Brian Thomas Jr., Etienne Jr., and Strange. And then you can insert other guys. I'm saying, but those, at least those fours where you can get those threes coming from, and even the 4-2s on that side, it just builds nicely. It feels right. So I certainly think there's something to be said for that. This is another one. If all the Gio says, if all the ownership is condensed with the captains up top, isn't it almost better to take a bunch of shots on the lot lower captains and fade the high owned ones? That way you can get over the field. What do you think, Title? Like, that's, if Mahomes is going to get pumped up, we have seen a lot of solo shippers this year in Showdown, which another one, by the way, shout out to our guy Rio last night, just missed the very top, but still a nice 40K for second place, just a small chop there. But yeah, another solo shipper last night. What's your thoughts on just, with the condensed ownership of the captain we've seen?
I think that's all up to your risk tolerance. Like, when you do that, just know if Mahomes nukes today, you're going to be getting very little back, maybe none back. But if you do that all year and that's the plan you stick with, just blindly every slate, like if you would have been overweight on Diggs yesterday, you would have clearly been underweight James Cook, Allen. You give yourself more shots when you are right, but just know that some slates, it might be phoned down in the first quarter because Derrick Henry already had his 2 touchdowns, 100 yards, this or that. So there's no right or wrong answer to that. Just know what you're getting yourself into. Yeah,
if you're playing to win, you're playing the long-term game. I think obviously, you want to get as much out of it. When you're saying it's not how often you're right, it's how much you win when you are right. That's kind of the setup of the exact same thing we just talked about there. It's like, yeah, you could be also, to Hoop's point, and maybe I'll kick it to you, Hoop, and then we'll get into the other positions, and we're going to quarterback anyway. If you really love Mahomes on this slate, there's a bunch of ways you could build differently with Mahomes and just get massive leverage on him. If you think he gets steamed to 30, play 75, and then, pick him and a couple, or play 60, and then a couple other guys at 20% each, and you got 3 captains, but you're double the field on Mahomes, and that gives you builds that are 49K capped, or, they're with the defense against him. And there's more things that can be in there built in to make it more contrarian. But what's your thoughts, Hoop?
Yeah, I mean, you can certainly still play Mahomes. I mean, this is one of those slates, you look at it, it could be like 20 fantasy points is the top score on the slate. And then if that is Mahomes, you're gonna need him. And there's ways you can get way different by playing him for sure. So again, like if you like him, and a lot of reason too, like he's been more productive fantasy wise. Last year it seemed like his ceiling was almost like 18 fantasy points for a majority of the season. Like he's consistently into the mid 20s. And if he gets 25, 26 fantasy points, probably enough on the slate. So you can play him, go way overweight and say, I don't want to even take the chances with guys like Trevor Lawrence or Etienne or Brian Thomas or Travis Kelce. And you just take a massive overweight approach, and you just have way more combinations of the Mahomes stuff, which I think is a totally fine option. And I can see the argument for the other way too, where you say, you know what, I'm just going to play a bunch of lower owned captains and hope it hits. Like that's why I'm not 100% sure what I'll be doing at this point. I see validity in both sides of it, to be honest with you. As it stands now, for me, it's probably spread it out a little bit and either be equal to the field on Mahomes or a little underweight. That's kind of where I'm leaning, because I just think a variety of things could happen on the slate tonight.
And one more interesting thing just for this slate, we're not at wide receiver yet, but is the Travis Hunter stuff. Like, it's really hard to decipher when it's going to be. You have to assume at some point they're going to do something, but and use them that way, but we just haven't seen it yet. And his price is not getting any discount for the lack of everything else that we've seen. It's 6,600 on DraftKings. It is cheaper on FanDuel, though. I will say we'll get to that later. 4,800 on FanDuel for Travis Hunter. And I can't imagine many people go there when you have a Brenton Strange at 4,600 on FanDuel versus on DraftKings. It's 2,000 more to go up to Travis Hunter from Brenton Strange. So sometimes you can use the sites against each other from that perspective. I definitely think that's another interesting way to go about it. All right, Hoop, I'm going to stay with you on these quarterbacks. Anything else you want to add on the Mahomes? We'll start there. Mahomes, Trevor Lawrence, and then just captains in general. You can go through your other stuff with captains.
Yeah, I mean, probably definitely prefer like Trevor Lawrence in the flex spot. We have not seen much ceiling performances out of him really, and I don't know, it seems like it's almost been years since we've seen like Trevor Lawrence absolutely go off. 11, 21, 8, 11 fantasy points This could be like a floor sort of fantasy point game where it's like we don't need these big ceiling performances, and getting 13 or 14 from a quarterback could be good enough. So I mean, he's fine, but man, like it's been pretty uninspiring from a fantasy perspective. So I don't think I actually probably don't play him in the captain at all. I think I'm fine just fading him. It's looking like let's see what sort of ownership. Like 10%, 13%. Like I don't have much interest in Trevor Lawrence up top, but Mahomes a little bit, and then in the flex, I think totally fine. Like I think Mahomes, if you're not playing him in the captain, I think you want as much as you can possibly get in the flex. Just seems very likely, like very, very likely that he is on the optimal in some way, shape, or form, whether it's captain or flex, especially with the fact that now he is running it a little bit more. So as much as I can get at him, haven't fully determined what I'll do. I'm fine with any path I end up with Mahomes and the captain, like I already talked about. But in the flex, I want a lot. Trevor Lawrence, not so much of a captain play for me, but fine whatever I get in the flex spot with him, but not thrilled with Trevor Lawrence.
Any other captain? Like, what are the other captain considerations? I kind of skipped over that, so I'm sorry. I'll let you continue on your captains. You already skipped your quarterback by talking through those guys early, but what other captains are you considering? Who
next in line for sure is Worthy. I think the big play upside can bust it. Like they need him in this offense. I mean, they definitely need him, and they need him involved in a big way in this offense. So definitely him. Third is going to be Brian Thomas, man. It's been bad. It's been very, very bad for Brian Thomas. There's no doubt about it. Drops, just weird situational things. But it's not like he's not participating in this offense. 7 targets, 12, 6, 7. If they are playing from behind, like he probably gets peppered here. So I'm fine with him. I'm fine going like cheap captains, I think, today as well. Like Diami Brown seems pretty underpriced. He could be like wide receiver 2, and he is what, 2K? Like he's had some big boy performances. Yeah, 2K flat. He's had pretty big performances this year. I just wanted to pull it up. He's had a 17 spot. He had a 9 in the first game. Like if he gets 12, 13, like that could be optimal captain score. So I'm fine with him. I'm fine with a wide range of captains today, depending, when I go through and see, like when I build my teams, I'm going to see what I get, run the contest sims. But I'd be fine spreading it out and just trying to kind of get unique at the captain spot. I don't really see myself playing too much running back up there, but I'm fine with like some of these pass catchers for sure up top.
Yeah. I'll kick it to you, Title, on the captains in just a second. I will bring this up from yesterday. This is, I thought this was pretty interesting because we did the takedown breakdown this morning reviewing it. Tight ends absolutely smashed yesterday everywhere. Still nowhere to be found. Still not needed. You needed those 3 running backs. Like we harped on that on the show yesterday. When there is 8, 9 good running backs on a slate, it really doesn't matter how good the tight ends were. The pricing was just too soft. And so just so everybody knows, like paying attention to it, that's why we're looking at that stuff from all angles. Even with the way it happened, we looked up optimals, we looked up winning lineups, we looked up everything. I know it's a product of how people build. I get that because there's more ownership on those spots. But I'm just saying it, just the way the lineup's set up and the way the pricing is soft. It's so important to play the game of DFS and not just the picks and the plays, to look at it like from the overview of the entire slate and how would it make sense and build out. And yeah, the running backs just trumped it still. And that's with tight ends absolutely crushing. So I thought that was a good call out from us yesterday. We had a good show yesterday running through that stuff. That's a really interesting piece to pick up on a week-to-week basis. So, Title, I'll kick it to you, man. Captains for you. What are your thoughts up top?
Yeah, I like that call though. I mean, Rico for 200, just nuts. And like I don't know, you guys went through it, but how have we ever seen a Millie Maker lineup that chalky? It was pretty much one pivot. And we talked about it. Ibuka, instead of playing the Rashad White, who did good, but play Ibuka opposite of JSN and bet. I mean, everything was just like a cash build with one pivot. It was wild to see so many flames.
Did you see? I got to cut you off for 2 seconds. The funniest part, his name, the username of the $20 Millie Maker winner was Pick the Right Scrub. And he literally didn't pick any scrub. It was all just like the best chalk plays on the slate with Ibuka as his worst at 8% or something like that. It's just the way it works. But the way the lineup was put together, yeah, not who you play, it's how you play. I mean, it was very sound. It's just crazy when all the chalk hits like that. But man, it still had a nice setup. It had the Fields, Hall, no Wilson with Ferg. I like that little block as a way you could get different with it, because most would have Wilson or would be excluding Hall. And then he had just mini stacks. He had JSN Egbuka. He had Dowdle with Waddle, no Achane. He had Jonathan Taylor, and then he had the defense in there. So yeah, it was a really nice build. It's just crazy when it goes nuts like that. But congrats to him. Didn't even need a scrub for that lineup and got the right job done. So
for sure, big congrats. $1 million, pretty cool. Only one of us on the show knows that feeling, and I can't imagine it be bad. But at captains, I like both quarterbacks. The reason I like both quarterbacks, we have no reception prop greater than 4.5 right now. Like, Mahomes has always been able to spread it around. Noah Gray's in there, not getting much ownership. I don't love Kelsey. The price will keep his ownership in check, though. He's plus 150 to get in the box. We'll get to Brashard Smith later. I'm not going to play him at captain, but I think he'll probably be out there more as the pass-catching back. What if he caught one? There's just enough guys, Thornton, Hollywood, Juju, where Mahomes and his rushing upside on top of it, you can play him in a multitude of ways. You go to the other side with Lawrence, he has 4 real receivers running routes out there. Hunter, Brown, obviously Brian Thomas, Strange, Parker Washington. If 3 of the different guys catch a touchdown today and no one has like over 7 catches, which I can see happening, Lawrence gets the bonus. I mean, he'll probably walk into the optimal. Mac Jones, that was a great call by you last week. I think we could see the same thing here today on that side. So I like both quarterback captains. I'm always going to be on Worthy. Anytime someone's that fast, can break it in one play, I'm going to play a lot of them. And then, yeah, I agree with Hoop on. I don't like the running back room much. I'm fine with ETN. He's plus 115 to score, plus 700. Captain ownership's in check. I don't love it, though. I don't love the running back room much. But cheap captain tight ends I'm in on today, mainly 2. In Brenton Strange, he just seems severely underpriced. Like, Travis Kelce 7.6, Strange 4.6. I wouldn't be shocked one bit if Strange outscores him. Great route participation. Lawrence likes him on the in-between, the dump-offs. Can easily get in the box. I think Strange is super strong. And then Juju for 200 more, too. He led the team in snaps last week at the receiver room when Worthy was coming back. He plays the slot, 6 catches, 60 yards, a touchdown. I think at that price, that can do a lot, too. So those are the main guys. I wish I could get to Thornton, captain, since his upside's so big. But I am worried that he's the one that gets fizzled out the most. So probably won't go there.
I didn't look it up fully. I was too busy looking up James Cook snap shares from last night because all the whining and complaining. I was like, just to dig into that a little bit, just for the fun of it. But I thought I saw something about last week title with Worthy back. Obviously, the guy's just super sneaky, catching 1 million balls. It feels like you don't even see him out there, and all of a sudden he's got like 8 for whatever, and it's huge. But I think I saw that a lot of people thought Juju would get hurt with that, and it actually ended up being Tyquan who got hit a little bit on that stuff. Again, it's week to week. It's such a small sample. I'm just noting we're not at wide receiver yet anyway, just for up top. I think obviously he has explosive playability. It's like the Shaheed stuff we saw yesterday. We were week too early the week before, but yesterday goes out and just catches that one bomb. Of course, Thornton can do that. They showed it just a couple weeks ago. They were willing to go back to him after the first one didn't hit. The next play, like, oh, we'll do it again. This guy is good. But yeah, if he's getting hit up a little bit on that stuff, it's just, again, it's showdown. You can take the risk. But was that the case?
Yeah, that was the case. Thornton was the last. So Juju had the most snaps, then Worthy, then Hollywood, then Thornton. So 3 receiver sets. Hollywood, Thornton kind of switched off, but there was more Hollywood. And then, yeah, Juju's role is really good.
Yeah, my big thing, this one, so I'll just go quick and then I'll kick it back to you, Hoop, just for running backs, because you already did quarterback and title, kind of talk through it there. And I'm going to hit it one more time. As I said, I'll definitely be underweight Mahomes, and I'm going to play Trevor Lawrence. I like the opposite side. I actually like this side of the game. I think there could be still, again, even if Brian Thomas gets right, I'll have him in the captain too, so I may as well say it now. But my point would be, it could just be a touchdown and some catches, and it still is Diami Brown. It still is Travis Hunter, Brenton Strange, guys like that, Hunter Long. Like, he could definitely be spreading it out here a little bit. And so I like that angle as well. It's not the birthday narrative. I just think it's good with the opposite side. If he's half the ownership of Mahomes, over 2K cheaper, and the ability to use him up there. He's even cheaper than that. He's almost 3K cheaper on FanDuel. So just of note, I think Trevor Lawrence is the spot that I want to move tonight. I think the run D could be a little bit tricky too. And then of course, if they're down in the game, then just got to pass even more, you suspect. So yeah, it could be a bad game for him, but I definitely have interest in him up top still, and I'll be underweight on Mahomes. I like Brian Thomas Jr. I like Diami Brown. I like Strange. I like Kelsey. I definitely like the passing options more than the running backs, though. So I know you said the same, Hoop. I'll segue it to you. If not with these running backs up top, because I'm not super high on it either, just because there's so many potential options here. What's your thoughts in the flex, and how are you handling it based on some of these price differences as well?
Yeah, it's a pretty tough spot. I mean, the Chiefs situation is, I guess, I don't know, like not appealing for fantasy, even in showdown options, but the prices have come down a little bit. I mean, we have been used to this situation where we have Pacheco and Hunt, and Pacheco's still 8,500 and Hunt's like 6,000 or something. Well, now Pacheco is 6,200 and Hunt's all the way down to 42. Neither of these guys have really done anything this year, which has led them to say they're going to get this Rashard Smith guy a little more involved. And I kind of want to embrace that a little bit today, just because he is the cheapest, and probably the way his game sets up is the easiest to kind of get there for fantasy purposes. I mean, last week we saw 4 targets, 3 catches, and 4 attempts. So he got the most work he's gotten all season. Last week, I imagine that kind of continues. So at 3,200, I definitely want some Smith. I think he's a fine option. Kareem Hunt is priced where touchdown and he's probably good at 4,200. So I do want him a little bit. And then Pacheco on the Chiefs side would be my least favorite at 68. Just his style, of just, running super hard, and it's not getting the job done anymore. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like quick enough out there. I mean, the highest yardage he has all season is 45 yards. Not really active in the passing game. He's definitely my least favorite on the Chiefs side. I think ETN's fine at 9,800. Not the greatest price tag, but he's, been one of the more surprising guys. I mean, even in season-long best ball stuff, everyone kind of forgot about him and wrote him off. Well, still getting a lot of work. Like, he is their main guy. Tootin obviously can sneak in there as well. So I think he's fine at 28. But I'll honestly probably be more focused on the cheap dudes, Smith and Tootin. Hope that, one of them gets the job done. And then after those two, ETN, Hunt, and Pacheco is kind of how I rank the running back room here today. And really not much interest in the captain for really any of these guys. So maybe I do circle back and end up playing a little more Trevor Lawrence than I initially thought if I'm not playing any of these running backs. So, I think you guys made some good points with Lawrence. He probably starts to trickle back into the conversation for me at the captain position, because I don't really see myself playing these running backs up there today.
I think he's actually like Etienne Jr. I think it's 210. Is that right?
I would say Tootin.
No, I'm just messing with you guys. I want to see if anyone would actually bite on that. I don't think it is at all. Just see if I could get the boys going real quick.
Well, you can always get us for a pronunciation correction, that's for sure. But that one was, that was a little bit off. So
yeah, that one's tough.
You'll be better next time.
I think the biggest thing though is it's going to be tough to figure out. But on the Chiefs side, at least, Title, you would certainly be paying up for probability, especially on FanDuel. It's 5,200 for Hunt, and then it's 8,400 for Pacheco. I think a lot of people are going to be interested in Hunt if they're just picking because they don't know. So they'll just take whoever the lowest price is. Do you have the props there by any means before you go through the thoughts of your own at running back? I'm just curious what the props are.
Got to be rough. And this is a good analogy from Nate. It looks like he's running in mud, super hard effort to go nowhere. I mean, that's literally the definition of Pacheco. I mean,
kids putting on new shoes and running around that way, just stomp.
Yeah, stomping.
That's stompers.
Yes, and not going anywhere.
It's like Le'Veon Bell, but this guy just goes nowhere. He just stands in the spot. Le'Veon Bell used to do it and
he was
sneak
so
through
fun
and then
to
take
watch.
off. So patient. This guy's just like stomp, goes nowhere.
Yeah, the patience. Him and AB back in the day. That was a team. Yeah, the rushing props. That's what you want to write. The yards.
Yeah, what do these guys got for touchdown props?
So the yards, Kareem leads it at 26.5, Pacheco 25.5.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there's nothing for Smith. ETN 64.5, Tootin 18.5. Tootin plus
Chiefs guys are that low.
They've been so bad. Smith's clearly the best. If 5% Smith is I think that's one of the best plays on the slate and by far my favorite running back. I just don't. Pacheco's been so bad. Hunt's been so bad. Smith's that new look. I mean, we were talking about him. What was it, week 2 or week 3? On the Showdown show, just the McKinnon role. Coaches keep saying they're going to increase the snaps. They finally have. He can catch the pass. These other dudes are dust. I mean, I think it's clear as day that if the Chiefs want to win, right now Smith's the best guy to have in the backfield, the most dynamic. So he's by far my favorite. I don't think I believe I think we see Kareem get steam and Pacheco get moonwalked because 2K difference for like props so similar. Kareem Hunt's props are better for that 1 yard that we're talking, and then he's plus 240 to score. Pacheco plus 380. Like if it is really close in ownership, I clearly prefer Kareem Hunt. If we get somewhere like a 12% Pacheco, 28% Hunt, something, which again, I'm probably exaggerating, but then I'd have more interest in the Pacheco side. Just clearly him and Hunter in that range would be the ones to get different with a lot of unknowns. But I still I prefer Hunter to Pacheco. I just think these guys are totally dust. If I'm like Hunter at least has big play upside when we get to there. The range of outcomes are wide. Smith is by far my favorite running back. ETN's fine, but he's expensive. I clearly prefer Mahomes, Brian Thomas, T-Law, Worthy. I don't know, maybe Brian Thomas, ETN close, but I clearly prefer the other ones. And then Tootin, he's 18.5 rushing prop and plus 380 to score. Like he really needs to score, and even then it's not guaranteed. So the running back room is so gross. Rashard Smith's my favorite at ownership.
Yeah, I like that call, and I think that at least you can do whatever. I mean, if you are on Hunt with $500 left over, and you could still leave another 1,000 on the table and just drop it down, and now you've got 1,700 or 1,500, sorry, on the table in that example. Like just to make a math problem out of it, you could do something like that, and if you get away with it and it's right, then you're in a much better spot because you have way less dupes. But I think like this is the other thing. And it's funny, Kenny, you say that because then you say the double kicker conversation is like if you're saying there's really no points, then he does not need 2 touchdowns or anything to be dead on arrival because you're saying based on his price, but it's to even titles, walk it back a little there, say it. Maybe it's him instead of Brian Thomas Jr. What if Thomas Jr. has the I saw it earlier, like you'd think because Worthy injured and all this other stuff. Somebody had it up there. I lost it now, but it was like the props were actually better on, I don't know, I lost it now. The props were higher on Worthy still than Brian Thomas Jr. So you could see like 60 on the ground and a touchdown. It might be enough on this slate if it's that much lower scoring, and you might still need your 2 kickers in there as well. But that's what he said. It was pretty close between those two, right? And most are thinking right now that Worthy's too scary to play based off the injury, which I get where there's some of that, but I don't think ownership is going to reflect that. Maybe at the captain some, but and he gets held in check a little bit there. But I think if he's playing, and people are going to. I certainly can tell you that optimizers aren't going to be afraid of him because projection sources aren't afraid of him. It's all baked in, and so you'll have to manually change that on your own. So inputs, outputs, we've had that conversation enough, but projections aren't going to shy away from that. You'll have to put your manual touch on it. Hoop, I'll go back to you, wide receiver then. Anything you want to add there? Because there's, some of the conversation coming up already with Worthy. We talked about Brian Thomas, but lots of other options that you could go to here, both sides.
Yeah, I mean, the wide receivers just have a built-in advantage with the full PPR setup on DraftKings. So, I mean, this is a spot where a lot of guys can kind of get there. At least you can make the case for the guys to get there. I mean, we've already talked about Worthy. I think he's always a great option. Flex, captain, whatever you can do with him. Love it. Brian Thomas Jr. hasn't been good. I mean, it definitely hasn't been good. I mean, you got to remember just, a season ago, end of last season, he was probably regarded a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL. I mean, the guy was an absolute stud. Some drops this year, game script stuff hasn't been needed. I still think he's good. I still think he's going to have a good season. He's going to break out at some point. And the showdown format is perfect to kind of make a little bit of a move on him. So I want him in all formats. And if you are playing Trevor Lawrence captain teams, which I've kind of circled back on and will be doing, I want him in the flex as well. You start looking like who else can be the winning captain on this slate at the wide receiver position, because I'm going to play all these guys in flex to some degree because I'm playing the quarterbacks now. I mean, I was always playing at least some Mahomes, but now I'm going to be playing Trevor Lawrence. So I'm going to be good with anyone in the flex spot. Brown, Hunter, Juju, Diami Brown, even Thornton, Parker Washington, I think is fine. Like, who else can I envision being the optimal captain here? Maybe some Hollywood Brown up top at 7K. I don't think he should have much exposure up there. Yeah, we're showing where is that number? Hollywood Brown, we're showing like 3% up top. Yeah, it'd be fine. Like he has a path to get there. Like if Mahomes locks in, he goes 7 for 70 and, finds the end zone. Like that's going to be good enough. So Hollywood Brown, I'm fine with up there. De'Ami Brown at 2,000. Like this guy has been good. If he has 10, 12 fantasy points, he could be the captain that you need. If everyone else, there's like 5 guys that kind of get between 15 and 20, and he goes out and gets you 10 or 12, like that could work. So I'd be good with him up top. But the other guys definitely in the flex spot, Hunter, Juju, Thornton, Parker Washington, I think are all fine. I'm going to be playing a lot more of these guys than I am the previous position at the running back spot. So in on all of them. If you're playing both quarterback captains, I think you should definitely be playing all these guys, and we have a lot of options here that I think are definitely viable.
Yeah. What do you think, Title? I'll go to you. Same thing. Obviously, had a little conversation around Worthy earlier, and we talked about Brian Thomas Jr., but what about these other wide receivers?
I really got nothing more to add about Hoop. Like, I don't like the running back room one bit. I really like the receiver room. One thing that stands out is just like, so Travis Hunter, 6.6K, his receiving prop, 29.5 yards. De'Ami Brown, 2K, 27.5 receiving prop. 2 yards less for 4.6K savings. I think that just alone should show how much money you can leave on the table on this slate. But yeah, I really have not like Parker Washington will be at 4 receivers for Jacksonville will be out there. 4 receivers for the Chiefs will be out there. Ownership's in check for almost all of them. At least like how I'd expect it to be. So when I play Mahomes, I'm more likely to play the Thorntons of the world, the Jujus, the Hollywoods. Same thing if I'm playing Lawrence, Parker Washington, all that. Any hot takes? I mean, I just think if you're worried, if Worthy gets confirmed good to go, I think it'd be a mistake to take the approach that like you have, unless you have some sort of inside information. Like, why would it was ankle swelling off a flight? If his ankle was really that swollen or at risk to re-injure, why would they play him today? They can give you all the drugs and all that stuff too to make you feel good if he does think he's good. I mean, I'm not worried about that one bit. My least favorite, like I definitely prefer Juju and Hollywood over Thornton, just following last week's script and they'll be on the field more. I think Thornton's amazing. Like as a receiver though, and like upside, if Thornton was out there more than them, he'd be one of my favorites. I think he's really good at getting downfield separation and the big play upside. I just want guys on the field a lot more. And the other side, I don't know. What to do with Travis Hunter's tough. I definitely like De'Ami Brown and Brian Thomas Jr. more than Washington and Hunter. But Hunter's snaps went down on defense last week. And if that does continue, they're definitely going to play him more at offense. But he's an uncomfortable click. But I think that's what you want in DFS. I prefer him to Pacheco right in that same range where people are going to go Butker, Juju for cheaper, or Hollywood for more and stuff. So, yeah, what do you think of Hunter?
I think it's interesting. Yeah, I think it's like I said, it's going to be a spot. You could definitely like ladder him up in the betting markets. It'd be like if you think he's going to have a big game at some point, then you got to go. You can't really go off the prop. You got to go off of what you actually again baked in, et cetera, et cetera. But if you haven't been playing him or you want to play him all of a sudden or something like Hoopball says, if you've been playing him, keep playing him. The thing is, nobody's been playing him, so you kind of do have to be early on this spot if you want to be. The best place to be early would be on a showdown slate when nobody's on him because he's priced out of it or whatever you want to look at it from that perspective. He's clear leverage. He's literally perfect leverage because everyone will be on Brian Thomas Jr. first and for good reason. When people are going to value play, they're going to Brown, who's way less for good reason. So I think that makes perfect sense. And then when you go to the other side, like over on FanDuel, there's no way he gets played because Brenton Strange is 4,600, Brown is 4K. Like they'll just, even though you'd think that's where he'd get more love because he's more affordable, it just makes people think he sucks or he shouldn't get played. So the most interesting thing is the Hunger Games lineup where you can play Kareem Hunt, Travis Hunter, and Hunter Long and get after it tonight and really get different on this slate because if you're playing Travis Hunter and you're not playing Brenton Strange, why not go to Hunter Long there? You could set it up that way. So Hunt is just cheaper on the other side, getting the equal carries to Pacheco for cheaper. Maybe you build a lineup like that. And then I will say, I don't know if people fact check or look their stuff up, but this time last year, the stat was out. I remember this because then they got crushed by the Bills. Lawrence was like 8-0 with 8 touchdowns or 6-0 with 8 touchdowns or something like that. 6 starts, 8 touchdowns, no INTs. It was definitely stats that were much better than you would expect out of him. But the sample size is always so small in that I don't care.
Like that's my thinking. So on this slate, I think it's somewhat interesting in the room. The other thing I was going to say, Title, you missed your chance. I think Parker Washington is the only one to successfully come through with the double dip this season so far that you could have got your double dip in there and you could play your Parker Washington with the Jags D here. That'd be something.
That'd definitely be something. The only problem is I'm not sure how much I love Jags D. Yeah, these double dips really haven't worked out too much, at least on the showdown slates. But yeah, there you go. Good call. I always like to know if there is a skill position player that will have a chance to score on offense, and he does return that, it's good to know in showdown.
Yeah. And I should know back to my Lawrence take is, he wasn't throwing INT. He wasn't making huge mistakes in these games, right? It's not winning every game, but that's what people have to remember again too. You don't have to win. They don't have to win. The Jags don't have to be the winning team tonight for DFS relevancy, which is all we care about. Again, back to one game tonight only. We're not betting on them. We're not betting on the Jags to win. If you want to bet on them, go ahead. I'm just saying that's the note I got to keep putting out there. So don't have much else to add there, Hoop. I mentioned it at tight end. Our girl Kim, big time Jags fan. She's on the inside, and there she is right there. She just popped up. She said, wait, Tyler doesn't like Jags D? They've had a bunch of sacks and picks this season. This is the best they've looked in years. So maybe she's advocating for the double dip, but I know in the Discord she was advocating for the Hunter Long touchdown. So maybe we get a little Hunter Long action at the tight end position. Hoop, what are you doing there? You got Kelsey, Gray, Strange, and Long. Lots of different options. So
yeah, just got. I guess I don't even think it's like news, but Worthy expected to play. We'll see how he feels at the stadium to confirm. So I'm assuming he's good to go, and that kind of was the assumption coming into this that he would play. So I guess another piece
of the news earlier than they broke the real news. That's what it is. We believed it. We believed.
Yes, we believe. So I like Strange for sure. I mean, he's my favorite tight end. I think he'll be not the most popular because people still like playing Kelsey, but Strange I like the most, and I think I'm fine playing him up top. Look at his targets, and he has been very active in this offense. 7, 7, 5, 4, opposite direction though. So week 1 was 4, then 5, then 7, then 7. So it's kind of building up like he is kind of, probably the second piece behind Brian Thomas, and maybe right there at the Emmy Brown. But I really like him. If he gets one of those games, like a 5 for 60 and a touchdown like that, has a chance to be there up top. So I think Strange by far. Kelsey just flex for me. Like I can't play him up top, man. Like I don't think he has the upside anymore. I mean, it just looks slow out there. It's just going to be a flex play when I'm playing. Not only when I'm playing Mahomes up top, but like if I'm playing Mahomes up top, like that's the best way to play Kelsey, I guess is what I'm trying to say. In those Mahomes captain teams, good with Noah Gray, good with Hunter Long, and then is Munt showing it at all in terms of projection? We have him at 2. And we have him at like 1. So maybe potentially we have him at 1.5. A little bit of him. Actually, we have him at 0.3, but it should be a little higher.
Johnny Munt.
T-Law captain teams, I would be fine, and it's not going to be like a crazy amount. Like if he gets in there, like 3 or 4% or something on Travis or
plus 1,800 to get in the box. Is that your new tight end today?
Not too bad actually. Plus 1,800. might have to fire at that a little
What
bit.
About first touchdown?
Yeah, the real odds are substantially worse than that. But
plus 9,000, plus 17,000 for 2.
But where is the full? I mean, he is maybe the only viable full-on punt. Let me see.
He definitely is
on the slate. No one else is even projecting for.
You got to go up to Hunter Long to 2K, 1K.
Who is this dude? Like Quint Allen Jr. for the Jaguars has like a small projection.
He's like
I was looking at FanDuel
last night.
I was looking at FanDuel. My bad.
Yeah,
you're right. 400. You're right.
Yeah. So like sometimes there's those lineups where you absolutely have to have the full punt, and like if they do anything, like you just need it. So I don't know. I mean, again, not a primary play, but if he gets in there a little bit, that's fine.
Yeah, anything can happen. The LaQuint Allen Jr., this guy he's up there in the points per dollar. People looking at the site. Yeah. I think the main thing with that is it's almost like Ray Davis last night. I mean, he had his couple of chances there. If he gets the touchdown
last night, it still wouldn't have mattered probably because of Curtis Samuel, who also was up there in the projections. But just of noting, like that's what you're thinking about when you're looking at those plays. Hunter Long would be more of the ability to, 3K less than Strange. You could play him instead. You could play him, to fill out your lineup and not just leave the money, but use it to get more up top or get a different lineup that way. So there's a couple different ways you can go there. But I actually think I like Kelsey. If he's going to have like a big game, it's got to be like a 2-touchdown game. And if they can move it on anybody, it's got to be this spot here, I think. And just, move the chains, pick up like 8 catches, maybe get a touchdown. I don't know. It's tough to say, but I don't hate him up top. So I'm not going to be against playing him in the flex as well at 7,600. Up top, he's 11-4. So it's a bit trickier for sure, but I don't hate it. So I'm going to be using Kelsey on this slate. Other than that, I'll use Strange and Long a little bit more. I don't know how much gray I'll get to, but the other guys I don't mind at all. Kickers and D's, Title, anything for you there?
I don't know, Kim. I don't think I can do your Jags. So Chiefs are fine. I don't really love it too much. I always prefer kickers. Kickers are fine, but the problem is there's just so much, like Parker Washington, Kareem Hunt, Prashard Smith, Tootin, Gray, Brown. If you're playing the Johnny Munns, the Longs, like we have so many guys that will be on the field that on full point PPR sites if they get in the box, they can easily have the Curtis Samuel 10. You need the kickers to outscore that, which definitely can happen, but it's easier to leave money too, going from the kickers and playing one of those cheaper pieces. So kickers definitely over defenses. I would say in general, though, I probably like it a lot less than I do on most showdown slates.
Yeah, it could be the thing Kenny mentioned earlier, Hoop. This is back to our roots here. I've had some good Chiefs slates using double kicker. And mind you, one of them was I remember for sure, with Kelsey up top. So opposite thoughts there, but you usually like the double kicker. They're definitely at the affordable price point here, 5,400 and 5K. It's not that crazy. And it's not like there's, based on just the wide receiver stats alone, the Title brought up. And then on top of it, you bring up the running back stats of what he brought up. Like me and you were both like 25 apiece for Pacheco and Hunt. Like they might both hit 50 in that instance. Again, they're just props. They can beat them, but at least makes it somewhat interesting to these guys just rack up the kicker points. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, definitely in on both these guys. I always love playing Butker. He's been really good for a while and has the ability to put up big scores. And then correct me if I'm wrong, this Cam Little guy, he's the one that kicked like a 70-yarder or something in the preseason, I believe. So there's like massive upside, I believe, with this dude. I think he has a huge leg. Someone will be able to back that up pretty quickly in the chat, but I'm fairly certain that's the dude that made one from 70 in the preseason. So it's like, if he has that sort of upside, he can get us. They don't get 6 for a 60 yard.
You're right. No, they don't. Unfortunately, they should. But he
did kick the 70. Yeah, so he's got a massive leg. Like we can pick up 5 quick points at the end of the half or something if they get there. So this guy, I'm definitely in on him as well. Double kicker for sure. Like definitely good with double kicker. This could be a different sort of slate in terms of the outcome. So I'm good with that. Defenses, fine with the Chiefs some, but don't love the Jaguars. The Chiefs do a good job of really not turning the ball over all that much. So fine with some Chiefs, but don't really like the Jags. And obviously, much prefer the kickers over both.
Yeah, it's not that big. It's 9.25 inches in circumference, his legs. So there's lots of people with bigger legs than Cam Little, but he's got a big leg, like you said. So
I was like, what are you typing out right there? Where are we going with this?
No, check the records, man. We got to check the Guinness World.
Easy now. What are you talking about? That third leg or what?
That's what I was wondering. Circumference.
Hoop always goes to the dirty streets, man. This guy loves it. It's good.
Framed that one up. You framed that one up way too.
I will say,
you said he got a big leg. I don't know. You were thinking about it. I was just verifying. So
DraftKings.
We'll move it along. But I don't have much else to say besides the lineups that I'm looking at. If you do play double kicker, you could still get pretty much whatever you want of that combination that Title mentioned earlier. If you're looking at Mahomes, Lawrence, Thomas, Worthy, Etienne, like you get to pick your poison in there. I think it's going to be picking, 3 of those and leaving the money on the table for the final spot or something like that. That's what I'd have to say. I knew I'd get the chat fired up on this one, of course. Mr. Dong Bong knows, they said. Of course, Hoop knows what that looks like.
It's true.
That is true.
Why
doesn't DraftKings get in there, though, and like people now kick 60-yard field goals? I know maybe 8 years ago, not as many did, but that's 6 points. I know, like, those points matter. We saw yesterday, Rio took second, but that kicker passed him. I mean, that 50-yarder, those 40, like, nothing worse than 39, 49 when you have those kickers.
Oh, it's the absolute worst. Also, the Green Bay Dallas game with the overtime. Like, now that the OT is shorter, like everything that goes into that, why are we not just having kickers like a shootout? Here you go. You start from 30, make it. Okay, make 40. Let's see who gets to 70 and gets the job done. And then that's the end of the game. And that's what your kicker's there for. Like, get your good kicker or suck. Like, that's how it goes. You lose. But I don't know. They never do anything fun like that. It's not that hard. It would be amazing for the rare time it happens. It just adds that extra bit of fun to it. But whatever. I don't know. They can do a bunch of different stuff. All right. FanDuel thoughts, Hoop? Anything you want to add for FanDuel?
The one thing I will say, definitely the quarterbacks will get, I think, extreme ownership up top just because it's tough after that. Brian Thomas Jr. is the second highest guy on the slate. So it goes Mahomes at 13.8, and then it goes to Thomas Jr. at 12.6, and then ETN, and then Lawrence. So these quarterbacks have to just get massive ownership in the MVP spot. I think really anything else you do outside of the quarterbacks, going to be pretty different. Like it's tough to make the case for guys outside of Mahomes and Trevor Lawrence over there. It's showing pretty high. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm guessing between those two, it's in the 60 to 70% ownership range. So anything else is going to be different. The other pricing difference for sure was Travis Hunter is all the way down to like 4,800. So he's priced right there with like Brenton Strange. So if you like Hunter and you're playing on both sides, I mean, maybe come to FanDuel a little bit over the DK. Let's look at these Chiefs running backs.
Thornton is another one way up there, 74 versus 52.
74 for Thornton. That's wild. That is a wild price tag. Jeez, I don't know really how you can kind of click that name.
I will say when he gets there, though, like if he gets there today, he very well still could end up there just because the one play, like 80-yard upside. It's really hard to click, but you know his range of outcomes, at least when you click someone like that, you want him to be really wide, and he has upside at least. But it's
Pacheco, it's like 3,200 between Pacheco and Hunt. They're basically, as Title said, in terms of the yardage, it's like they're basically the same play, but it's $3,200 difference. I already talked about Travis Hunter. That's quite the difference. Like Tootin at 5,600, like that's not even like a cheap price tag. I still like this Brashard Smith, $3K flat over on FanDuel. But the main thing is that the quarterbacks are going to be massively owned up top, and then Travis Hunter is substantially cheaper, and then you get a pretty big gap again between Hunt and Pacheco.
Yeah. Title, did you see anything else there that you want to point out?
Yeah, like Brian Thomas has to be super low with Worthy being 2K less than him. I agree with what Hoop said about the quarterbacks. Like if you're playing FanDuel and someone like the person that mentioned it earlier, just like fading the chalkier quarterbacks and getting higher on everyone else, you could really just X out Mahomes. He could be 40% over there. If you'd play anyone but Mahomes, you can get overweight on like 4 or 5 guys. I don't hate that. Brashard Smith looks good 3K when a lot of people would be going Brown, Strange, Hunter, who seems mispriced. Parker Washington and Tootin are the clear Jacksonville guys that are leverage off of so much on the slate, being higher price than those other guys I just mentioned for a worse projection.
Yeah, one thing that I think is super interesting from the FanDuel perspective is about the kind of the points you both just made, but with the Mahomes factor is, so first of all, Mahomes is way more in the MVP, 20,700, yet still the most popular. And typically that's because there is so many options you can fit with them. And you can make the case for all the guys we said to make a version of that fit. But when you have all the other guys priced up, like we said, like Thornton is a bunch more, Juju 6K, Hollywood Brown almost 8K, Kelsey 9,200. Like you are putting yourself in a bit of a flip where you could move those guys into the MVP, get Mahomes in the flex, and still be able to afford a better and different lineup. So I actually think FanDuel is a place to get unique. I know a lot of people have asked about it in, with the changes this year. I think that's the best part of it. Before it was so heavy, just quarterback only, because it kind of would be the setup of that's where the most raw points are coming from, just so more often than not. It still could be the case tonight, depending on how you have the game playing out. But I think any of those Mahomes captain builds, you're able to flip somebody else from the flex into the MVP, move him into the flex, and then be able to just upgrade or boost your lineup a little bit or get a completely different build style while still being on a similar type of game outcome. So yeah, I think FanDuel is super interesting tonight. I'm actually excited about it. Even more than DraftKings. I like it tonight. All right. Anything else, Title? Any final thoughts? Anything else you want to bring up?
No, a lot of money up top. Football on the screen's good. A little Brewer Cub action at night as well. Double screening. Maybe get the chips flying as well. Gonna be a good night.
Remember, Hoop told us the Lions were, or the Tigers were done. The Lions were dust. Every sport he's just like trying to reverse jinx it or something. I think is what he's really trying to do.
I might be right.
Any of that stuff, but
I might be right about the Tigers. They literally can't hit the baseball. Like they can't, they can't hit. So like if you can't hit and score any runs,
1-1 coming back home as a dog. I mean, I'll take that spot.
What about the Blue Jays, man, over the Yankees?
Yeah.
They said they're cheating, but the Blue Jays are just smashing in these games.
Yeah, they are.
Yep.
Hey, and the Brew Crew as well. They put a stomping in the first inning on the Cubs. Got some good.
Anything else from you? I got one thing to show off. I know I love to see this. Our guy, Sweet Boy, Eden Cohen. We talked about Rio last night, but he had Kevin with 10K. Just above him there, though, Eden Cohen, 100K. Back-to-back weeks now. Jaywalking last week, Eden Cohen this week, 100K apiece. And then you stack that on top of MMA, 20K, 8K, $600. And then earlier in the day, it was our man Hamhock getting 40K. Plus his third live final seat, Barry Manilow, first-time ship, $188 to $8,200 over here. Said, went to your slate plan, picked what they said, filled out 2 more spots with your projections. Bam. It was like every sport all weekend. It did not stop.
Yeah, let's finish it strong. Let's get something tonight. Get those logos up to the top and keep it rolling. I mean, we got
Sweet boy, let's go. Yeah. I didn't know that. That's
love seeing that.
It might be the only one you missed. Title was. I went this morning. And
I know.
These days, he's in every freaking channel. He's commenting. He's congratulating everything. How did you miss that one?
I have no clue. I'm wondering the same thing. I saw a lot of awesome stuff. I mean, awesome. I've seen like $14 into thousands. Like we're talking all bankrolls, all different levels. It all adds up, man. You can pay for the tank of gas with the DFS money on DraftKings every week. You'll be loving life. The wife will be happy for you as well. So there you go.
You know what else fits all bankrolls and costs less than a tank of gas?
$19, 5 days.
You got her, my man. How? Jeez, man, our team is sharp as it gets. Title right away. 5 days, $19. Go to shipitnation.com. We don't need to beg you at this point. Just you should check it out. You're costing yourself. There's nothing that says you need to pick one spot. Our hope is when you see Ship It Nation and you get to test everything out and check it all out and do your own thing with it, especially with the SaberSim partnership, you might decide it's the only place you need to be, but we've kept everything super affordable since day one to make it so that you can check out, get everything you need to have success with DFS, and it's a ton of good deals, but the $19 for 5 days, just start there, and then you can adjust and see what you want to upgrade to down the road. We'll get different promos, things like that. Hoop, any final marketing thoughts from you before we get out of here?
No, sir. We'd love to have you. Get in the Discord. Very active, friendly Discord. Great community. And we're looking for new people to join us for the ride. So come on board.
Yeah, I lost it there. I think I was going to pull one more thing. I was trying to pull it just for our guy Kenny to make him happy. I lost it. Anyway, Kenny said I can turn. What did he say here? He said
thousands and
yeah.
I've been there. For sure.
Yeah, he said
he's good. He's good.
96,000 yesterday, and that doesn't include his 50,000 screenshot from NASCAR too on top of it or whatever. So congrats again to Kenny, our boy. We really appreciate him. Love to have him in the community, always helping others out and showing the goods. He said SRN 828 keeps him afloat. So Go Collect, who was on the Takedown Breakdown this morning. That was awesome stuff too, to see his process and break down Ship It Nation, everything we got going on. But just a good, fun time. If you guys want to check it out, it's easy to get in. That's going to do it for this one, guys. For Title, for Hoop, and for myself, ToeTagginTambo, let's ship it.